Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to the movie Felidae. And I might be mispronouncing that, I don't know. Um, but yeah, this is a donation reward reaction. As I've stated, we are going to be doing donation reward reactions for movies. We have four to go through, and we're doing it once a week, every week in September. Um, Most likely on Thursdays, but it might be Friday at some point, I don't know. But either way. So yeah, Felidae. I know pretty much nothing about this. I know it has something to do with a cat, and that it's a German movie. Otherwise, I know nothing. I don't know like what the actual plot's about. I don't know if like the animals talk or not. It's always kind of a toss in the air with animated movies on whether or not the animals actually talk. We'll just kind of have to see. I also do know that this was from the 90s. I want to say like mid 90s or something like that. I don't know exactly, but somewhere in that area. Um, and I've never heard of it before. But to be fair, it's a German animated film, so that would explain why. Now, I believe the file that was on Kim Cartoon is a dub file. I don't know for 100% sure, but I believe I was told that the file on Kim Cartoon is for the dub. Um, I obviously haven't checked to make sure, but... And if that's the case, then I guess we're going to watch the dub. um, yeah, I'm interested to see what this movie's all about, what it's like, and why it would be suggested for me. Excuse me. Why would it be a donation reward? There's got to be some reason, I assume. But yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like. And just as a reminder for everyone, this is not a monthly movie night reaction. The monthly movie night reactions are still happening separate. These are blah, blah, blah. These four movies that we're going to do once a week are donation rewards from the last mega stream. So we're still trying to get those, finished before the next mega stream comes around. So yeah, basically September in general is just going to be really saturated with movie reactions. Because there's the Steven Universe movie I already did. There's the regular movie night movie, which is coming up, which is actually two movies this time around. Because it's Death of Superman and Reign of the Supermen two-parter movies. So it's like, yeah, just a huge saturation of movies for this month. Hopefully it all goes well. But yeah, I'm interested to see what we've got in store for us here today. Again, I apologize. Um, Before this, I was actually like having some issues with OBS and stuff, and I'm hoping they're done. I'm hoping I'm done with all of those issues, so we don't have to worry about that shit anymore. But yeah, it was really bothering me because there's just so much to handle. And on top of that, I do have to actually make this as quick as possible because it is Thursday night, I am going to the bar tonight, so there's that as well. Which means we should probably get on with this. So let's do so. When the screen fades to black, jeez, I already messed up. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. Excuse me. Whew. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. What the fuck did I just watch? I guess the only thing I can think of as to why this was a donation reward, as to why this was chosen for me to react to, would be because of the adult content because it's violent and gory and there's sex for cats. Um, Maybe because it's a mystery, and I've mentioned before I like mysteries. I maybe the original German version is better in terms of its pacing and whatnot. Maybe the cuts and scene transitions are better. But here with this version, again, this is the version I got because it was the one on Kim Cartoon. Oh my god, that stuff was terrible. The cuts, the scene transitions, the voice acting, the audio work. Oh my god, it was terrible. Um, the visuals otherwise, like the art and animation, were actually pretty good. For coming out in again somewhere around the mid '90s, I believe it was actually pretty good in its art and animation. I had no real issue with that. Um, I had no issue with it being gory or having sex, I guess. Like that, obviously, with any, I've mentioned before, with anything I watch, it's like I don't mind if there's like blood and gore and swearing and sexual content. That stuff doesn't bother me. Um, and the story itself had promise, like the concept of it, the idea, but it also felt like it was trying to do a little too much. Like there was the entire murder mystery aspect in general, but then they tried to bring in this entire deep message about humanity and shit, and how these human scientists were doing these experiments on the cats, which, by the way, that scene really like made me uncomfortable. Like, oh my god. That kind of stuff, like it's like I don't want to see that. But like they're doing all these experiments on cats, and apparently one cat it worked on was Claudandus, and Claudandus was able to communicate with one of the humans and ended up killing him, and was adopted by the other. And since then, he's been killing hundreds of other cats and doing all this kind of shit to try and like make the perfect cat breed or some shit. And there's this cult and everything. It's like that felt like really kind of random, and in the end didn't really amount to much. And then there was that girl Felicity or whatever her name was, who felt really like random and like she didn't have any purpose in the actual movie. It's like, oh, there's this cute girl cat named Felicity who our main character has a little bit of a thing for. Very next scene, she's dead. She's just dead. She dies off screen, and then we go see her, and she's beheaded and shit. She served no purpose. The only thing you could kind of say that she did is give our main character Francis a little more of a reason to find the killer, but I don't think that he was worried about needing a reason. He already was invested in this, and also, why was he invested in it? Like, why did he get involved? He's a new cat to the neighborhood. It should barely matter to him. And him making friends with Bluebeard was really sudden and just kind of out of nowhere. And a lot of the dialogue between characters, especially Francis and Bluebeard, felt really rushed and really really poorly paced. It felt like it was just like skipping between thoughts without any actual meaningful transition. Just overall, I really feel that this movie had potential and wasted it. It's not one of those movies that are so bad it's good. It's one of those movies that could have been good, but failed so spectacularly that it's just bad. It was just not a good, enjoyable movie. Most of the time, I was like just completely dumbstruck by how insane it was. Those nightmare sequences as well. It's like, what the fuck? And it's just like, I really, I really didn't have a lot of excitement and enjoyability in this film. The mystery itself as to like who was committing the murders, I only ever had two suspects during the entire course of this movie. It was either Joker or whatever Claudandus was calling himself before that. I can't think of it at the moment. It was always those two. And as it went on, I started to suspect Joker even less. And it's like, because it just felt too obvious. And then it's like, it's so obvious that it's so obvious of who it is. And it's like, really? It wasn't even that hard to figure out. Um, I mean, I didn't necessarily expect like all the way through that he was Claudandus, but he was a murder suspect, one of the murder suspects for sure. And I have no issue with most of the main characters dying, even Bluebeard. That didn't bother me. I mean, I've seen plenty of shows where that kind of thing happens. And honestly, I also really never had any kind of investment in these characters, so I didn't care that Bluebeard died. Like, I never felt invested in his character because the movie never did anything to make me feel invested. It never made me care about any of these characters. If if Francis had died, it wouldn't have bothered me in the slightest. And that's not a good thing. You want your main character, you want to make your audience care about your characters, especially your main protagonist. And especially in a movie where you plan on having like fights to the death and shit, and other characters dying in some pretty gruesome fashion. In a movie like that, you want to have your main character be cared about by the audience so that every time they fight and everything, the audience is afraid that they will die. Instead, I'm just watching these like fights and these chase sequences and stuff, and it's like, eh, if he dies, he dies. I don't give a shit. That's legitimately how I felt. And again, I didn't care when other characters died, Felicity um or Bluebeard or anyone else, because I had no reason to care about these characters. And Francis's owner had pretty much nothing to do with this film. And there were like a couple points where it almost kind of focused on him, and it felt really random to do so since he had no actual point. They could have just had it mentioned that Francis had an owner, never show them once, and it would have had the same effect. There was no reason to actually have the owner as a character. It didn't do anything. And like I said, the movie tried to give off this deep message about humanity, about how they're really fucked up and they did all these experiments on these cats and really fucked everything up. And, at the end you have our bad guy like mouthing off like, no, all humans are evil. And it's like, I'm fine with the idea of that, with the idea of having some kind of message like that in a movie. That's fine. But it was done so poorly here. It felt so forced and unnatural. Kind of like in that one Avatar The Last Airbender episode, The Painted Lady. The environmental message in that episode was so forced and unnatural. It just felt like, yeah, this episode is an environmental episode rather than a good episode of a good show. Which is why it's one of my least, if not my least favorite episode of all of Avatar The Last Airbender. But yeah, this movie was not good. Again, I don't fully know why you wanted me to react to this. I forgot exactly who wanted this as their donation reward, but I don't know why you wanted me to react to this. Maybe it's because of how stupid and overcomplicated and just ridiculous it was. I don't know, again, if maybe the German version was better in some way for some reason. But I just could not find a reason to like this movie. And I still can't. I guess it's worth having watched. And to be fair, I liked the song that played during the opening and closing credits. I actually think that song is really good. The voice acting was all over the place, though. The editing was all over the place. The audio score, the story, just it really felt like it wasn't properly handled. At least to me. At least to me. But that is our movie for this week for our donation reward movies of September. We are going to do these in the order that I put them on my list, basically. So I think the next one, I don't have my list up right now, but I think the next one happens to be the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire documentary. I could probably check real quick if I can get this up. But yeah, I know that was another one. I think that's the next one. But that will likely be next Thursday. I can't promise for sure, but it'll be very likely next Thursday. I am interested to see what else we got in store for those movies, though. And hopefully they're better. Hopefully they're better. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of Felidae. What did you think of the story, the characters, whatever else? Tell me your thoughts on that and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. If you want to check out any of my social media links and more, please check them out over to the side. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave those down below. In the meantime, though, thank you so much once again for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.